Book 2, the book of the traveler of the worlds. Canto 4, the kingdoms of the little life. Page 140, sixth line. Here was its early, brief attempt to be, its rapid end of momentary delight, whose stamp of failure haunts all ignorant life, inflicting still its habit on the cells, the phantom of a dark and evil start, ghost-like, pursues all that we dream and do. Although on earth our firm established lives, a working of habit or a sense of law, a steady repetition in the flux, yet are its roots of will ever the same. These passions are the stuff of which we are made. This was the first cry of the awaking world. It clings around us still and clamps the God. Even when reason is born and soul takes form in beast and reptile and in thinking man, it lasts and is the fount of all their life. This too was needed, that breath and living might be. The spirit in a finite, ignorant world must rescue, so its prisoned consciousness, forced out in little jets at quivering points from the inconscience sealed infinitude. Then slowly it gathers mass, looks up at light. This nature lives tied to her origin. A clutch of nether force is on her still. Out of unconscious depths her instincts leap. A neighbor is her life to insentient naught. Under this law an ignorant world was made. In the enigma of the darkened vast, in the passion and self-loss of the infinite, when all was plunged in the negating void, non-being's night could never have been saved if being had not plunged into the dark, carrying with it its triple mystic cross. Invoking in world time the timeless truth, bliss changed to sorrow, knowledge made ignorant, God's force turned into a child's helplessness, can bring down heaven by their sacrifice. A contradiction founds the base of life. The eternal, the divine reality has faced itself with its own contraries. Being became the void and conscious force, nescience and walk of a blind energy, and ecstasy took the figure of world pain. In a mysterious dispensation's law, a wisdom that prepares its far off ends, planned so to start her slow aeonic game. A blindfold search and wrestle and fumbling clasp of a half-seen nature and a hidden soul. A game of hide and seek in twilit rooms. A play of love and hate and fear and hope continues in the nursery of mind. Its hard and heavy rom of self-born twins. At last, the struggling energy can emerge and meet the voiceless being in wider fields. Then can they see and speak and breast to breast in a larger consciousness, a clearer light, the two embrace and strive, and each know each, regarding closer now the playmate's face. Even in these formless coilings, he could feel matter's response to an infant stir of soul. In nature, he saw the mighty spirit concealed, watched the weak birth of a tremendous force, pursued the riddle of Godhead's tentative pace, heard the faint rhythms of a great unborn muse. Then came a fierier breath of waking life, and there arose from the dim gulf of things the strange creations of a thinking sense, existence half real and half dream. A life was there that hoped not to survive. Beings were born who perished without trace. Events that were a formless drama's limbs and actions driven by a blind creature will. A seeking power found out its road to form. Patterns were built of love and joy and pain, and symbol figures for the moods of life. An insect hedonism fluttered and crawled and basked in a sunlit nature's surface thrills, and dragon raptures, python agonies crawled in the marsh and mire and licked the sun. Huge armored strengths shook a frail quaking ground. Great puissant creatures with a dwarfish brain and pygmy tribes imposed their small life dread. In a dwarf model of humanity, nature now launched the extreme experience and master point of her design's caprice, luminous result of her half-conscious climb on rungs twixt her sublimities and grotesque to massive, from infinitesimal shapes to a subtle balancing of body and soul, to an order of intelligent littleness. Around him, in the moment beats of time, the kingdom of the animal self arose, where deed is all and mind is still half born, and the heart obeys a dumb, unseen control. The force that works by the light of ignorance, her animal experiment began, crowding with conscious creatures, her worlds came. But to the outward only were they alive. Only they replied to touches and surfaces and to the prick of need that drove their lives. A body that knew not its own soul within, there lived and longed, had wrath and joy and grief. A mind was there that met the objective world as if a stranger or enemy at its door. Its thoughts were kneaded by the shocks of sense. It captured not the spirit in the form. It entered not the heart of what it saw. It looked not for the power behind the act. It studied not the hidden motives in things, nor strove to find the meaning of it all. Beings were there who wore a human form. Absorbed, they lived in the passion of the scene, but knew not who they are or why they lived. Content to breathe, to feel, to sense, to act, life had for them no aim save nature's joy and the stimulus and delight of outer things. Identified with the spirit's outward shell, they worked for the body's wants, they craved and no more. The veiled spectator watching from their depths fixed not his inward eye upon himself, nor turned to find the author of the plot. He saw the drama only and the stage. There was no brooding stress of deeper sense. The burden of reflection was not born. Mind looked on nature with unknowing eyes, adored her boons and feared her monstrous strokes. It pondered not on the magic of her laws. It thirsted not for the secret wells of truth, but made a register of crowding facts, unstrung sensations on a vivid thread. It hunted and it fled and sniffed the winds or sloth inert in sunshine and soft air. It sought the engrossing contacts of the world, but only to feed the surface sense with bliss. These felt life's quiver in the outward touch. They could not feel behind the touch the soul. To guard their form of self from nature's harm, to enjoy and to survive was all their care.